Hi, my name is Paul McCarthy with Hero Facility Services. Welcome to episode 17 of Facilities First. And today I have two great ladies with me. I have Tammy Smith and Kay Altom. Ladies, how we doing?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
I
Hello.
am blessed. I am blessed. So today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about facilities. We're going to talk about the conference coming up because y'all are excited because y'all are coming to Florida. Now, y'all both know I'm a Texan and I moved to Florida. So
Sorry.
it, I know it's second best state. I can give it that.
I'm
So
kidding.
thank y'all for joining me, taking time out of your day because I know that right now we are 22 days and 12 hours from the show.
Yes, we are.
So no pressure or
No, no.
anything. I mean, it's just 22 days. So let's go ahead and get started because I like to start it out with some fun and I do rapid fire. So I'm gonna call on one of y'all first. And I'm not gonna tell you which one, but mountain or beaches? Kay,
Mountain.
Tammy.
Mountain.
Okay. What's one word to describe where you are currently working?
I don't, is that both of
I'm,
us?
I'm doing that for a reason, and Tammy knows why. So I'll start with you, Kay.
Um, describe um Tawanda.
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 I don't know that you do know what we're talking about, Paul. The spirit of
Oh,
Tawanda is how we would describe us at ConnexFM. And that's a little trivia for your guests. If they know who
oh,
Tawanda is, then they would probably pick up on that feed. So,
okay.
do
Well, how
you know
about
what
y'all?
Tawanda is? Let's turn this on you.
Okay, so I heard it all last year, and y'all were running around in your cowboy hats. So
Yes.
I'd have to say no, I don't know. So, as a sneak peek for my viewers and me, can you tell me what it is?
Okay, so we started this when Tammy and I came together last year. And if you've ever seen the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, it's a great movie. It's kind of a chick flick. But there's a character in the movie that just really struggles in life and whatever. And she gets this confidence and she gets this incredible power in herself to be a better person, to do more, to do whatever. And her kind of catchphrase is Tawanda. And we just felt like it fit for us. Like, right, we're better and we're building and we're going to make the membership and association better. So every time something happens, it's just like Tawanda.
Yes.
So
And you have
Okay,
to say it with enthusiasm,
you
and it's
do.
hands up to Wanda.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
to Wanda.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Kind of like this, but
if
good.
I start saying that, I'm not going to be happy with either one of y'all because it probably comes out better from y'all ladies than me saying Tawanda. So
Yes.
A
You
little
might
bit.
be right there, actually. You have to say
well,
it with enthusiasm, Paul.
okay,
Wanda.
enthusiasm to
Yes.
Wanda. I'll practice before the show. How about that?
Yes.
All right. So, what is one thing people would assume about the association and the work you do in the membership that is wrong? Something, a misconception that they might have about being part of the association and being in charge of membership.
Well, go ahead. Kay, you want to
No,
go?
I was just going to say, I think the misconception is that we are a one event, that it's conference. And while we love conference and it is our biggest show, we have stuff 356 days a year for connections, for education, for community, for everything. And I think it's just sometimes people don't recognize that we really have. It's not just don't come to a show. We want you there, but we want you to participate in everything else, our virtual learning sessions, everything like that. So that would be kind of my feedback. I don't know, Tammy, if you have.
Well, definitely. I mean, our phone is ringing. Hence, I'm very hoarse because of a lot of calls have come in because the conference is one of the biggest events people want to attend. But as I'm, vetting them and talking to them and encouraging them, to certainly come to the conference, I would definitely want them to know there's so much more, and that we really want them to invest not just money to join, to come to it. It's not their ticket just to come to the conference, that there's so much more for them to be a part of, whether it's committees and councils and meeting everybody, and then planting those seeds. And then at the next event, a little bit more, and I think it's, keeps going. I'm a product of this association, 25 years in the making. So, for me, going to conferences is like a family reunion, but there was a first conference for me as well. And so, I love this, the association. I love being a part of this industry. And I think, Connex kind of brings them together. And so, stay in it, plant your seeds and grow.
So I'm going to touch on something that Kay said that I think is one of the most valuable things that people miss about the association is the education piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because sitting in on those webinars, whatever it may be, if you're at the conference, those are valuable insight. So for any first timers that are coming, use that time wisely. Go listen, go learn. And I know you'll have a great education chair over there that handles it all. So I strongly suggest get in the education piece, because we can always grow and learn.
Well, and that's one of the things too that we have worked on, is that we want to continue to build that. And Brooke and Kyra need to do a fabulous job. But we also, is there anything new that we need to add? Is there something going on in the industry that we can incorporate? Because Brooke is Johnny on the spot to get that done. So it's always a process that we know that we've got to keep building and creating content that's a value add for our members, both on the vendor supplier side and the multi-site FM. We recognize that. And I think that's the best thing about Connex, is that we want to help the industry. We've been in it too long, and we want to continue to do that. So,
and especially right now in this day and age, what is everybody talking about? Everybody's talking about AI. They're talking about asset tagging. They're talking about all these new things. I say new. They're talking about all these things that are coming. And so your education, your association has to almost be like Gumby, because you have to be flexible to adjust to all these rapid changes that are happening. And I'll touch on what Tammy said. The coolest thing about the facilities world is it's one big family. And you go and you see these people, and you might have met them 1 year at a conference, but the second year you go back and it's like you're like a sister. Or it's amazing the connections you can make. And you can't do that without an association like Connex.
Right.
So I think that's another value that you all bring.
Well, and I started obviously with Prism, not Prison, which always got confused. So PRSM, and came back. And I still have relationships from back then, from 2009. And here's the thing, even on the supplier side, I may not have gotten business from them, but I knew I could call them and they could reference me into somebody else. So it really connects, it's connections, right?
Yep.
So, and I think that take advantage of those people that you meet, because again, you may not get business from them. They may not do business with you, but they will help you find that next place or that next supplier or that next company you want to do business with. So
that is so true. And I tell other vendors out there when I meet them at conferences, listen, there's plenty of fish in the ocean. Let's work together. And I might call you because I need something. I might call you because I need a referral. It's all about that relationship building. So we're going to spill the beans now, because you talked about Prism and Prison. And I'm starting to think y'all really are Tawandas, because y'all are twins. Tammy and I were talking about this before you got on. How do you say the association's name correctly?
Tammy? It is. Tammy, you go.
Nope. It's Connex. ConnexFM is our name of our association. We don't correct people when we hear often the ConnX, which I did kind of tell Paul that when I was first joined Prism, I would have people go, Prism? You're going to what? Prison? I'm like, Prism. And so now I'm hearing Connex, and I'm prison and convict. I don't know. There could be a theme there. So maybe the Tawandas are bad. I don't know. But it's a great place to be, just like Prism.
It's funny story about the Prism is I'm from Texas. I do have an accent, and I would call somebody either in the Northeast or whatever, and I'd say, "Hi, this is Kay Altom with Prism, and I need so and so," and they're like, "Is he in trouble?" Like they thought like I was calling from a prison to I don't. So I just start calling, "Hey, this is Kay with PRSM." Like it's my accent was going to kill it every time. So it is ConnexFM. So and we don't correct people because you know what, if you're part of the industry, just I don't care what you say, but it is ConnexFM. So
Well, to kind of tag on what Tammy said, it's connects and convict, they kind of say, but they go connex, then it's convicts still. So kind of all the same.
True. There could be a subliminal meaning in that name. I don't know.
I think all three of us have a curse that we have to live with. We have a Texas accent.
Yeah.
And people can misunderstand those very quickly. And I know that's one of the first things that Tammy and I talked about last year was the accents and being from Fort Worth. So I'm now down here in Florida, but I still proudly rep my Texas shirts, and it's kind of fun. But let's get into the meat of why I really brought y'all on. So tell me, what do facility managers get from Connex that usually they can't build on their own?
Well, I can answer that because, I'm in the membership role with Connex, but I came from the industry as an FM. And so when I mentioned I had first attended my Prism conference back in 1999, I really didn't know much about facilities. I landed in the role and kind of got pushed a phone my way and said, good luck. And so for me, going to Connex was really, or at the time, Prism, it was meeting people who were my people because I didn't have any people at my office. I had construction, I had real estate, but I was a single entity, as we like to say, the necessary evil. We spend a lot of money. We don't make the money, but we spend wisely. So that is our contribution to the bottom line. And so for me, coming to Prism at the time was that education. It was finding the neighbors who were in the same role, as me, and who could understand, like we like to say, that's our tribe. And I found my tribe.
Yeah. Kay, you have anything to add to that?
It's funny because I come from the supplier side, actually. So I went out in the industry. And so the supplier side of it to me is it is that connection. So I think from both standpoints, facilities, one of the things I took away was that they want to talk the talk, right? They want to know that somebody else understands what their issues are. And if they have a problem with their HVAC or they have plumbing issues, what did someone do on that? How did you get that approved through your organization? So I think what we provide is that open kind of conversation for them to not, like Tammy said, be alone, right? You're going to come into a community, a tribe, a group that's going to help you be better at your job. And I think that just like with anything we talked about, our CRM system, right? Or any data system, Salesforce, anything you have, right? It's only as good as what you put in it, right? And so to expect results from ConnexFM when you don't participate, you don't attend the meetings, you don't go to education, those kind of things, then you're not getting the true value. And so what we want to do, and part of this today was, how do you get that value? And it's called participation. So I think that's the best. So
I love that. And we touched on this earlier, and I think you just went right back to it, is the value of it is all these other things, the education, the community, the people, think about it this way, the experience that you have at these conferences is amazing. Mm-hmm. And for newer FMs that are walking in, or newer vendors, when they're walking in, they've got all their resources right there. It's just you got to put your first foot forward and take that step and take that leap of faith and trust.
Well, and it goes to for a conference too, and Tammy being that new person years ago, she's kind of leading the first timers event at the national conference, and so that is a great way to find out, how does the conference work? How does the industry work? How do I connect? We're gonna have a lot of our legacy members there that are gonna help, like say, here are the ropes, right? Here's somebody, you've got my name and face now as you're walking through the hall, come and find me. So we're trying to make it to where it's not because we know there's a lot of long-term relationships here, and I love it, right? But a new person coming in may feel a little intimidated with that. So we're trying to make this such an easy place to be, and just come meet us, right? If you need somebody, and I tell everybody, call me. If you want to connect with somebody, I will pick up the phone and call somebody for you. So you've got to, again, participate, utilize that we're here. But we are trying to make it to where it's a little bit easier for people to come to the show, because it can be overwhelming. We know it, right? So
yeah. That's awesome. So I guess it's kind of touching on education a little bit, but y'all have a good pulse on what people are hungry for, the FMs and the suppliers. What are y'all seeing that they're asking for? When y'all talk to people and talk about membership, what are some of their questions?
I'm going to say,
because I have a lot of those first conversations with people reaching out, wanting to know, hey, I saw this website, tell me about it, and so you're trying to kind of condense it for them without staying on the phone, for an hour telling them all the tidbits. But I definitely think with what I'm hearing is they want to meet people, that it's definitely about connecting, but they're also, wanting to know what struggles that others are having. I can kind of go with our FM lives, because I used to attend those. And when I talk about meeting the neighbors, those were awesome events for the FM world to be able to get together. And sometimes it was a gripe session, but they needed that, because they needed to know that the frustrations that they were dealing with in their corporate office, how did someone else navigate, around their boss? And so right now, I think, some of that is back to, I don't want to say politics, but tariffs and getting parts. And so I'm a liaison to our food and beverage. And so when you're talking about education, we've kind of revamped that committee a little bit to listen to them, as that's one of our verticals we're growing. And so we had a nice meeting instead of a typical committee. We kind of had a conversation, and we're going to use them to tell us, what do we need to be talking about for this growing vertical? And so we're kind of using them as our quasi focus group to say, what can we at ConnexFM bring for better education? And so I think that's what we're here to do, is to be conduit, but we're also here to listen and pivot and kind of get in front of some of those conversations. And so it is amazing how when people call, the different things they are looking for, problem solving and networking. So,
that's a great point, because, from the FM side, a lot of times, you referenced it earlier, you feel like you're on this island because you're just the spender of everything. And every time you get called, it's because you spent $15,000 on an HVAC system. But it's important to know that you're not alone. Your struggles are all the same. It's just on different levels. Same from the supplier side, Kay.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, for suppliers and vendors, we have the same stuff that happens. So, Kay, you want to touch on that?
It's funny, because I was just thinking that, because the supplier side, I think the problem is the struggle still exists, and we're actually going to do some breakouts this year, not at conference, but throughout some other locations across the U.S. like we have an FM Live, right, which used to be our retailer program, but we're going to do a supplier live. So we're going to get the suppliers together to talk about, because there is the RFP process, right, which can be hard. If they have a third party program that's doing the RFP for you, then that's a whole nother thing, because you lose that connection with the client, right? And sadly, no matter how much you have a relationship with someone internally, in an FM world, if there is a third party there, you lose that push to get you on board, right? So it's how to navigate those things. So those are kind of things that I know that I struggle with. So I think that from a supplier standpoint, we want to be there to help you as well. How do you work with those FMs? What are some protocols? And it's not hounding them on a phone call every day. It's not sending them 15 emails, right? It's getting, sorry, it is what it is. A lot of people don't like to hear that. But you really don't. It's a relationship. And if you don't have that relationship, it doesn't matter how many times you call them, they're not going to do business with you.
Yep.
And one of the stories I do remember is I had an FM that was looking for, I think, waste management, going to do an RP for it. And he had another supplier in front of him. And she said, hey, have you ever called XYZ? And he was like, never heard of him. They put him on their RP list. They had him and they won the bid. So your supplier, your partner, your counterpart over here that you don't want to talk to or socialize with, it's literally the person that's going to get you in the door sometimes. So our biggest push is everybody should be your friend, just FYI.
Yeah. And that's, once again, there's so many fish out there.
Yeah.
And we can all work together, because I think the ultimate goal of the association and everything that you do in your education is to elevate the facilities world.
Yes.
And so when we're trying to elevate the facilities world, we have to have those discussions. And sometimes they do turn into gripe sessions. But let's get into the fun stuff.
Okay.
So let's talk about conference. Y'all are coming to Orlando.
Yes.
We are coming to Orlando.
And in the spirit of hats from Denver with the cowboy hat, we thought, why not? So, and you know what? The true story about the cowboy hats in Denver is we had planned on just wearing that as a fun first day thing, but we had so many people coming to us saying, I'm so glad you have the hat on because I could find you. Yeah. Because again, we talk about the amount of people that are there and everybody's wearing business clothes, you know, what they're wearing, and then they're trying to find us as staff. So we will be wearing these. So we are anxious to greet you and meet you as you embark the SS ConnexFM.
I love that. So am I saying I'm old without saying I'm old by saying I think of the skipper from Gilligan's Island with those hats?
Pretty much.
Really? I was shooting for Love Boat, but okay, Gilligan it is.
Yeah, we had the Love Boat theme going on. And so it is sailing. It is literally for the membership department, sailing into success is kind of our theme this year. And so we are going to be wearing these hats. You will see us there. A lot of people, anybody helping the membership team. Tammy, that was good.
Yeah. Natural. I'm sure our team at Connex is probably like, oh Lord, those girls and their hats.
You know what? It's be you. There's only one of you, right? And the energy and everything that you girls bring to Connex is part of the allure and why people love coming to the conferences, why they love coming to the education, because you want to go and be around people who are positive and happy. And you two are the definition of positive and happy and fun. I'll give you that.
These hats are a little months.
You know what, Paul? I recognize, having been in FM, and I know how hard my vendor partners work. You know what? If we can come together at a conference and walk away with education, meeting a new friend, and have a little fun, I like to think we're a hardworking community, and we're on 24/7, 365. And so we want the conference. You know, nobody wants to just say, oh, I came to have a lot of fun, but that's okay. I think this group all deserves it because we are always tasked with doing more with less, fixing more with less money. You know, I've kind of coined the phrase, and it's funny how much it correlates to here in the FM world as it does even on the association side. We are trying to be as proactive as we can in a reactive environment that we land in. And that same with us internally. We are trying to get in front of every need and thing we can do for the conference to make it great for you guys. And even when it goes south behind the scenes, we hope you guys walk away and go, I sure did like Tammy and Kay's hat. We hope you won't notice the things that maybe don't go right, that we hope no one notices. But we're striving, all of us, the whole team is really, even if they're not wearing a hat, they're wearing a hat behind the scenes. Yeah. Making sure there's food and beverage and waiting and being in front of the welcome reception and making sure, but you will definitely see the hats this year.
And I will say that you ladies and your whole team, this isn't just something that y'all start 3 months ahead of time. This is a year long. I mean, you get a conference hangover for a week, and then you're probably right back in the field, literally coming up with new ideas, talking about how you can make it better. Mm-hmm. So this is then you have your membership job, but you still have the conference. So how do you juggle that self-care balance?
Well, we hit golf balls and we put the golf ball down and we just whack it.
I was going the direction of alcohol, but that's what? We have I will have to say, we have such a great, because we have an events department, we have the marketing, we have technology, we have the education, we have membership. And it does take a village, and it does. And, because May literally opens booth sales for the next year. So we come back in the end of April, we're kicking it in May. And by the way, then we're also doing our mid-year conference, which also takes some time to plan and get things ready. So come into Kentucky, everybody. So it is an ongoing process, and it is. And our goals, membership has to bring in new members all year long, because we also have to create the community within the FMs. And so different people from different industries coming together, but we also have to do it for our vendors and suppliers, right? Because they need that business and they're investing a lot to be a part of us. And we want to make sure that they know we're listening to them and we really are trying to make it the best that they can have. And so it is the whole year long kind of cycle of what we're doing. And so, but it's fun because it's always different. We're never just sitting ever twiddling our thumbs. So, yeah.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we hit golf balls with alcohol, and then you solve,
totally stop. Top Golf, here we come. There you go.
Exactly.
I feel a collaboration coming. Yes.
My membership site is coming out like Top Golf. You need to join, by the way.
So Peyton's going to let me run a little bit over because I knew that getting y'all on here, we were going to end up talking like crazy banshees back and forth. So, but I do want to touch on conference and remind everybody. Kay, do you want to remind everybody the dates for conference?
I knew you would ask me. It's the 19th through the 22nd. Sorry.
Yes.
My date's on Thursday because we come home on Thursday. So I'm always thinking the next day. So yeah. So it starts on Sunday. It goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got incredible, we have Coach K, which is going to be, I think, fabulous at the welcome reception. And then we also have, not welcome reception, sorry, the keynote. And then after the awards, we have a great little gala. It's going to be fun. It's the sneaker ball. So you basically dress up and put on your best sneakers. Tammy, I know, is about to show hers because she keeps them at her desk.
I do. They are definitely coming to conference with some sequins. So.
I think you have to show them the ear part or them.
Oh, because it's Mickey Mouse. It's Disney World. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Only you, Tammy. Only you.
Well, and actually I'm thinking about blinging them up because they just don't say enough without some sparkles.
I know. And if you want somebody who has a lot of bling, it would be Tammy Smith.
Yes, it
would. It's funny. I actually have a pair of Nike Dunks coming today, so that's perfect timing.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you're going to be on your feet, meeting and mingling. So why not wear your great tennis shoes? I mean,
tennis shoes are a life changer at conferences. I mean, that needs to be in every first timer thing is bring comfortable tennis shoes.
It is because there's nothing that'll ruin your day worse than shoes that you just want to sit down in.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are gonna do a note before you go that we want, or I think we're gonna do one for first timers as well. Like it's gonna be a Zoom call that everybody can get on and hear, but it is extra chargers, it's comfortable shoes, and it's recognizing that it's an all day. I mean, it's you know, plan accordingly, and it's really pre-planning because there's so many great education sessions that you can't wait to the last minute to go, oh, I really wanted that one, right? And we also say anybody that comes in groups, if there's more than 2 from your organization, split them up.
Yeah.
Don't go sit in the same because you can connect. And we've got this great new program this year that it's going to literally take the notes and be able to have access after the show to kind of if you didn't take all the notes or you forgot what and then you can share that with your coworker. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's going to be great.
Divide and conquer. Yeah, there's a lot of
That-
education on top of each other. So you're going to have to do that to take it all in.
And that's so true. I think that's a great point because a lot of teams come and they want to sit together and they're like, okay, I'm comfortable with this person. But the whole point of coming to Connex Conference is to meet new people. And so that FM that you're sitting by or sitting next to could be your next partner. It could be your next mentor. It could be somebody really special. But if you don't put that foot out there, you're not gonna be able to do it. So I'm super excited to see you girls coming to my home state now, Florida. And I'll be looking for the hats and I'll run up and I'll say, Wanda.
Yes.
But I have to end each show with, and I'm going to only do one since I have 2 of y'all. But in life, I'm going to start with Tammy.
Oh, no.
Okay, you get to think about this.
Okay, good.
In life, what is one hill that you will die on?
One hill that I will die on. Sure. I have to think about that. I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Is this where the Jeopardy song comes in?
Yes, I feel it. I'm just happy.
Hey, do you have one?
Survived.
You know, and I guess I look at this question differently, but I think for me, one hill in life that I would die on would be honestly, and I just may not go with it, but morals and ethics. Like that's something I'm strongly believer in is a good moral compass and just good honesty. So
yeah. One of the reasons why I started this show was because I hate the word sales. And hate's a very strong word. I never use it, but I despise sales. You touched on the random emails that you're getting and you're just AI generating and you're sending them out. It's about relationships. And I want to show people there's another way to do what we call sales, and it's build relationship. Because if we're going to buy from somebody or if we're going to partner with somebody, there has to be that trust.
yes.
So Tammy, I kind of helped you for a little bit. It's time to answer your question.
And it's funny because, and I was kind of correlating this around facilities, and I think that's where I kind of was, but, I think it's giving back. And I say this because when I talked about being that very first person, that first show and, pretty much wearing the internal fake it till you make it and hope that no one noticed that, I'm sorry, HVA, what's that stand for?
Yeah.
Because that was not in my wheelhouse, but I ended up in a role that I had to quickly fake it till you make it. And I'm always looking for people to, to admire. I've been very lucky through my career to have strong leaders that I admired. And I'm always still, even at this age and genre in my career, kind of always looking for that person to admire. And former boss told me, he goes, well, you know what? Maybe you need to get the mirror out and realize that you're that person now for someone. So I kind of feel like that's where this industry to me has been so pivotal. It gave me a community. I certainly didn't, leave high school and go, I think I want to be a facility manager. I landed in it and I'm so glad it found me. And so I always want to keep perspective very close to heart, because I want to remember that first timer and correlate our role to that first timer, because I'm outgoing, but going to that big conference was scary. I was by myself. I didn't know anyone. And once someone sits next to me and talks to me, no problem. I'll talk their ear off. But to wander around the halls and kind of look for someone to eat lunch with, or just to, so I think that kind of guides me here on this role, to make sure we're always looking for that person that's faking it till they make it. They don't know anyone. And that will always stay true to my heart, to make sure that I'm, being a mentor, as well as always looking for those folks, to be admirable as well.
I want to add really quick before we go, and I know that we're on limited time, but we have revamped our mentorship program, and we have a fabulous new platform that we're going to be able to generate a lot better matches. So whether you've been in the industry for 20 years, you've just started, or we also utilize it for our student program, which is huge. We've got more students coming this year. It's going to help us help people get better. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that we wanted that mentorship that Tammy's talking about. We hear it, we recognize it. We've had it, but now we're saying, you know what, we really want to focus on it. So I think that's the biggest plus coming in for us this year.
Awesome. I think it's beautiful that we started with having a little fun, but we ended with the heart. And that's what I love about the facilities world, is there's a passion for it that everybody in it has. And just be right, do right, and good things will come. So, ladies, I'm counting down the hours till I get to see y'all, and I'm super excited to see y'all at conference. And I want to thank y'all, because I know y'all are busy. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. And I guess I'll see you in 22 days and 11 hours.
That's it.
11 hours. Yes.
11 hours.
All right. Well, y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thanks, so ladies. Appreciate
right.
y'all.
Bye.
I'm getting